voyeurism, or you're amplifying um, the way someone looked, behaved, influence. What they haven't seen is the woman quietly building a business empire behind the scenes, making decisions, taking ownership, and turning visibility into real power. Today, we're stripping away the surface and talking about the part of Meera's journey that rarely gets attention: the strategy, the ambition, the mindset, and the uncomfortable truths that come with building something of your own. This isn't a conversation about fame, this is a conversation about agency, about going from being looked at to literally calling yourself. And when you look at what she's building today, from Dhun, a wellness platform reshaping how women show up for themselves, to a kind, you realize the public persona was just the starting point. So if you've ever wondered what it actually takes to evolve from personal brand to business brand, this episode is Meera telling that story in her own words. Welcome, Meera. Welcome to the Master Meera Wala show, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Masu. We've discussed this quite a few times.
I know we have. And I love that we had such a real conversation about the podcast universe.
Yeah.
I think right when I had kind of come out with it, or maybe not even.
A little before.
Yeah,
You were thinking about it.
before I discussed it with you, and you're like, I loved the honest, real advice that you gave me, which I'd love for you to share.
Well, I think whatever you're doing it right, because if anyone wants an outfit under 10K, they know they need to go to your page. And I think you were also looking at, growing from there to spotlighting brands and then engaging in meaningful conversations that maybe you weren't able to extend as much in, say, a short form of Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think what I said to you is what I felt myself, is you have to be really sure, because you need to create a space where people are open to have conversations. Those conversations need to be relevant, interesting, engaging. And it needs to be a space where they're safe enough to say what's on their mind, and you can say what's on your mind, knowing fully well that someone can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and have a problem with what you say.
100%. I think it's so tricky because you have to constantly ask yourself, is it worth that risk? Right? Is it worth that risk? And then sometimes the answer is sounding yes, because this could be, of course, there's a podcast, but anyone in that public sphere, right? Whatever you do, that risk actually remains.
There's always a risk.
Yeah.
And I think the risk of public perception is very real if you want to do something meaningful. You don't want to be in a room full of yeses. You want people to challenge you. You want to listen to why people aren't okay with what you're saying. Because yes, you can drown out a lot of the noise and you know what is noise, but there might be something that makes sense in what they're saying. And maybe you just didn't see that because you're always in a room full of guests.
I agree. I agree. What I'm really interested to dive into today is your journey as an entrepreneur. It really fascinates me, and I think it's one that's very unique, very interesting. And I love the kind of courage that you've showed at every step, which I think could be quite concealed to the world, but I don't know. I've seen it. I think also kind of because of the fact that we sat at a restaurant in Dubai and we were
Yeah.
just chatting, and that was so much early on in your journey. I remember that time, and I really want to take you back a little bit to that, right? I remember when you were recently married a few years in, and at that point, you were creating content and sharing the things that you love on the internet. Am I right?
Well, it didn't really start with an agenda to create content. Um, I just felt that, um, the thing with visibility is that you might have a lot of visibility, but you can't and don't always get to be in charge of the narrative. You may have a lot of people seeing you, having opinions of you, saying things, but they don't really know who you are. And I think even that one switch from a private Instagram profile to a public Instagram profile was that first step to taking a little bit of charge of that narrative that, okay, I understand you're interested to know who I am for whatever reason, uh, but I will do it on my terms, in my voice. And it started off as my, I still very closely hold on to Instagram as my channel of communication because it comes directly from me. Nobody manages my Instagram page. We don't have strategies. If anyone gives me a strategy, I will say I don't want to follow it. So it's the way that I like to communicate with people. And so it started off with me just being myself, showing certain aspects of my life. And I have always enjoyed writing. So even though Instagram is a visual platform, I would love writing the captions. And during COVID is when people reached out and said, do you want to do this ad? Do you want to do this brand association? And I think for me, it came at very fortuitous time when Instagram and content creation was blowing up because everyone was literally confined to a 9 by 16 uh, aspect ratio. And it began from there. And even then, it was okay, I will associate with brands, but only those that I resonate with or I believe in what they want to sell, who they want to sell to, uh, what are their values like. From there, it was like I am a part of someone else's voice, but I'll retain my own because I'm now attached to their journey and their story. Of course, in the middle, there's a lot of fun stuff. I've always been quite shy. Like, I've never done dancing reels, if you see. Like, that's not me. Um, then gradually, it kind of evolved into, if I can give a voice to someone else, I've also learned in those interactions with brands because I like to do that. Why have you created this? What is the purpose? What are the products? What are the ingredients? That there is a connection I want to make with the consumer. That's why all of my brands are actually consumer brands. Even it's not a family office, but all of the investments that I have made are only in the consumer space. So it evolved because I had a natural connection with Instagram to people. So I could hear from them in real time what do they think about it, see trends, what are people consuming. Um, and that's when it kind of evolved into okay, I think now's the time I want to do something of my own. It was always there. Content creation was just a stopgap.
Also, the bridge.
I think so,
Right?
yes.
Sometimes you also need that connecting thread to
Yeah.
get from point A to point B,
Yeah.
which makes the journey and also understanding the consumer exactly how you're saying,
Yeah.
right? Building a community.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what I would call it. That I would just word it that way. That I think you built your community before launching your business. So you're existing.
But it wasn't intentional. Like, I didn't say that
Yes.
I need to make a community and then I'm going to drop a business. that community evolved very naturally because I just wanted to be myself. This is what I like. This is what I like to wear. This is where I like to go. This is the kind of food I like to eat. It's just like how blogs used to be. It really followed that format. Along the way, there were brands that I found, and I just felt there is something there. Well-being was one of them. Um, and so that's when content creation and say, you know, the first spark of entrepreneurship kind of came together where I said, look, Avnish, whether you need it or not, I want to invest in this company because I see that there is something there. And like that, a lot of my decisions in terms of investments were from that same place. There is a spark, there is a need, and the consumer wants it.
Talk to us about a few of the investments that you've made.
Um, so most recently is Athletic Freak, which is an athleisure brand. I'm very lucky to have done that with my two sisters. I don't think anyone would ever imagine that three sisters would come together for athleisure apparel. You would think that it could be for yoga or Pilates and kind of bracket it into that kind of space. But it was again a very conscious choice. It's quality athleisure apparel that goes from the gym to all kinds of
Come
movement,
to the
lifestyle, because we see that there is a need for that in India. You know that as well because you made one of those investments too. Um, and before that, of course, there was well-being nutrition because that was also in the wellness space. Athletic Freak falls in the same umbrella. None of my investments are curated, but they have now come into this ecosystem of wellness and lifestyle. So there was well-being. There's Zama Organics. There's a very interesting music platform for training for teachers as well as students. It started online. It's called RTM Academy. There's a sustainable water brand called Uravu. There are quite a few actually
मैं क्या था
that I
अरे
can't
करो
recall, but the culmination of all of that was I'm going to back myself and I'm going to invest in myself, and that's when
Amazing. So I'm going to take it back a few steps and ask you about that moment where you went from private Instagram profile to public
खा था
Instagram
बंद कर दिख
profile,
रहा है थी
right? So even that decision, did you make it yourself? Was there someone helping you, guiding you along this part of the journey?
so I had this private Instagram profile, and Shahid's friend at the time was managing his digital page. And he's like, listen, Em, you need to open this profile. And I'm like, no, I don't know what will people say, and like I'm putting out whatever I feel like right now, then I'll have to think. And he said, leave that. So that page is still very much there, which is from 2010, 12, 11, whenever Instagram started, when Valencia and all were the
Oh my
filters. So that
God.
page is there. To then shift to a new profile. I don't know, like I didn't take it very seriously. I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Um, there were moments when I felt like, oh God, what are these comments? Now, I mean, a lot of these comments are bots, all these hearts and kisses and all of these things, so I know how to filter it out. But I've never taken anything too seriously because for me, my world is my family, my friends. That's the world in which I like to exist. So, my validation, of course, comes from in terms of what I do. It's important to put that in perspective with the general audience. But for me, that validation comes from this not at all. Not at all. I can't do so many.
And did you feel like, it was a case that, but I'm assuming you were in your early 20s when you made this shift to public Instagram profile. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I also feel like that's a phase when you might be second guessing everything.
That's true.
It's really like there's not too much depth to this answer or question because
You
just
just do
trying to
it.
say like, screw it, like,
Yeah.
let me just try it out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Precisely. I mean, I just like to do it. Even pictures. Ask my team, I take like 7 minutes to do pictures. So I can't think like now which pose. Now I have three poses. That's it. I can't do so much.
So, in the first bit that we were talking about, you literally answered and spoke about something that I shot in my intro before you came.
Okay.
Because I like doing my intro separately because it just like throws people off. But this is the line that I used that there was this opportunity, right? There was this spotlight that was there, and then you took that spotlight and you created an opportunity where you were controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
And you did that so beautifully. Do you think that was intentional or it happened by chance? Did you feel like let me also go a little deeper, right? Like did you feel like there's so much media attention? Is there a way to constructively use this?
No. Um, I didn't use the media attention opportunistically at all. It's never been at the forefront of my thinking ever. I think I have always operated from my value system, who I am, what I stand for, not what other people want to hear from me, or even to a large extent what they feel I didn't do right or didn't do wrong. Something that I said which was incorrect. Um, it's just a new place I was existing in. Instead of 10 people looking at me, there are like 10,000 people looking at me or more, how many I got. Um, I'm very aware of the opportunity that I have. It's not something I take for granted at all. I'm also very aware of the voice I have and that it has a relevant impact. It can inspire, it can offend, it can make you think, it can change perspectives. So I think it's that self-awareness and now it extends to being aware of yourself in a public platform. It wasn't like, oh my god, now I have something to do. What can I do? I didn't change the way I dress. I didn't change the way I behave, the way I talk, the way I am with my son. It's very much the same, and I think that's what I've realized has worked well. That it's me through and through that finds its way into different kinds of expression.
And what were your ambitions before before this came in?
Yeah.
What were Mira's ambitions?
I always knew I wanted to do something different. I just didn't know what. I hadn't figured that part out. I think like most, maybe not like most people, but I was going along my journey with those academic milestones. Okay, you got to do your 10th board, do them well. Okay, now you have to choose your subjects in class 11. I picked science. Why? Because it gives you the freedom to choose whatever you want to do after that. Finished science. Okay, I scored very well in my GATE exam in terms of my rank. So, and that's the entrance test to English. I had no intention of studying literature because my view on it was something very different at the time. And my dad had me speak to a professor who said, listen, if you've got ranked 10, you're clearly intelligent. You have an aptitude for it. And LSR gives you the opportunity to change your course after 3 months. So I said, okay, let's do it. Why English? Again, you have a lot of opportunities that you can choose from. So it was never like, I never had some razor sharp view that this is what I want to do. There was a time when I was much younger that I wanted to be a doctor, and then I knew you have to study so much and you have to study physics, and I couldn't tolerate physics. It would give me a headache. Every time I would go into that physics lab, I would get a headache.
Talking to someone who dropped science.
I enjoyed science. I actually switched my subject combination when I was in class 12. My principal was very nice to allow that change and do all of the paperwork she needed to for CBSE. But I said, I want to drop physics, I want to take maths. And she said, why? I said, I don't know, I really enjoy it. I go and sit in those classes and I love it. And so she said, I'm taking this decision till you have to speak to your parents. And in my head, I was like, why do you need to ask me? I know what I want to do. Why do they need to agree? And my dad is an engineer. He's tried science with all of us. My eldest sister dropped it. My middle sister continued. And so I took on science, but I didn't want to. So I speak to my dad and I say, Dad, I'm leaving physics and I'm taking biology. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't know, maybe I want to study Ayurveda. It just came out of my mouth, Masu. I had no idea where it came from. I just didn't know. And that too, to understand the human body, but also to understand plants, just the entire ecosystem in which a human being.
But you were familiar with Ayurveda as a concept.
Yeah, I always liked reading about it. Ayurveda, homeopathy, naturopathy, everything. I would continue reading. I don't know where it came from. And of course, he wasn't very happy about it. But I felt like that was the first time I took a decision for myself. This is what I want to do. I don't want to do what someone else is saying. Um, I got an award for biology in school, even though I just studied it for about 9 months. But I think it did really well for me. So I knew I wanted to do something of my own as things progressed. It was like, okay, um, I want to do something that creates impact in a person's life. Of course, tech can also create an impact in somebody's life. So can SaaS and so can AI. But I wanted to see how can I create something that has tangible impact in somebody's life. That's why I found the consumer space so interesting, where you can see it actually happen on a quarter to quarter basis. You can see either they like it or they don't. You can see there was a brand that I was working with. I know the founder quite well. She's a senior of mine in school. And I saw the packaging. I know one of the investors, and I was like, how is this packaging working? Like the quality and this, that, whatever. And, numbers came through. They're doing phenomenally well. That was a learning for me. That I might think that this packaging needs to change because it's not working, but clearly no one cares about the packaging. They still like the product inside. And there are learnings you find at every moment. You just have to ask those questions. Why?
But what was that? There was that journey, right? You were creating content, sharing things you love,
Yeah.
and there was a pivot to entrepreneurship. And there has to be a mindset shift that happened at that point. What was that mindset shift?
That happened because I felt that I'm aligning with a lot of brands. And along the way, I found so many of them that I really like. So the baseline is I have to like it. I have to like the brand, what it stands for. But then it was like, I really like what they're doing. I want to be a part of it. I don't do like random, yeah, okay, this is the brand, these are the deliverables, tick. No, I like engaging with the founder or the marketing head or whoever is there from the team. And then I found that there are brands that I want to be a part of because I am that consumer. So if I'm lending them a voice, I want to be a part of this journey. I want to have skin in the game.
Got it.
And why wouldn't you do that? Because I'm part of this narrative. I anyway sell it like it's my own. I want it to be my own. So that's how it changed.
So it went from creating content to being an investor.
Yeah.
And to then being the founder of two brands.
Yeah.
So it seems a lot more gradual now that you kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you went even from being an investor to, founding these two amazing brands, was there something that really scared you about entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Balance sheets, P&Ls. I think every founder needs to have a grip on how the company is functioning, the health of the company. But I also feel you need to hone into your natural talent. And that's when you find the right team, or you find the right mentor, or you find the right partner, and you can learn alongside them. I didn't know what EBITDA was. I didn't know what gross margins mean. I didn't know what is profit before tax, profit after tax. How do you segment CapEx versus OpEx? What is ROAS? I didn't know any of those things. I have now come to understand it to a large degree. And I think it's important for you to have that responsibility, because you can't say, I'm going to be the face of it, I'm going to create this place or launch this product, but not know whether it's actually doing well or not. Because when you have investors on the table, you are responsible and you owe them an answer. Even if it's bad news, you need to have an answer as to why. Because good news is great. You scroll through that email much faster than a bad news.
So true. Oh my God.
Yeah, because you will go
Yes.
through it. I've been on the other side where I have gotten my updates as an investor, and I will always go through, why did this happen? What happened here? How could it have been better? Just from my point of view as learning. So it was very much like it wasn't an MBA. You know, I don't have an MBA, but I learned from experience. And I think that one of the things that I have learned is the difference between delegation and micromanagement.
Okay.
This is something, you know, we have a monthly meeting with my team at home, and we always we have an agenda and all of that. And mine isn't like, it's not a lecture. It's just more inspiring. The key wins, key learnings, any SOS outcomes, moments, etc. Um, and I realized that delegation can give you a lot of independence and freedom to do other things. But delegation doesn't mean you give someone something and look the other way. Because then when they're doing something wrong and you turn around, you can't blast them and say, why did you do it like this? At the same time, you can't micromanage and be on their head. They need freedom to figure it out, make mistakes, because we all learn from those mistakes. It is, someone is swimming in another pond and you've given them something to work on. You're doing your own stuff, but you have your eye there, where you're just gently maneuvering it so that it's not falling flat. Because everything matters. When you're a startup, everything matters.
Oh my God,
Every expense matters.
This is something that I feel like I think you've pointed out something that I've really been struggling with, which is exactly this. I think I've been delegating and then not looking into it.
Yeah.
And that's a huge, because I'm a crazy delegator. But I think this is, you know, because life also happens, right? I think sometimes when personal life takes over,
Yeah.
you forget to look into that delegation. You forget to guide through the delegation. And
Yeah.
sometimes it just
It's
hits
just,
the roof.
I find like I'm a whiteboard person. I love my whiteboard. I love my thoughts getting structured on a whiteboard. I think it's very helpful when you put your entire mind and its mapped and you work through it with the team, then they have that clarity. Even if they take a picture, it's minutes of a meeting in a photograph. Then there's space for spontaneity, ideas, mistakes, risk. But if you are always on everything, then how do you grow? How do you have time for ideas? How do you have time for strategy, or even for yourself? Where do you have time to decompress? Because I had those moments where I felt 6 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m. in the morning, I am just thinking about work and I'm not present. I don't know who I am anymore. This is all I'm doing. I don't know who I am. I don't remember the last time I spoke to my sisters. Have I met my friends? What are my kids doing in school? Because at crunch time, you just have tunnel vision. Then you take that step back. And it can't happen instantly, because when you've just started something, it's all hands on deck. Like all your hands, fingers, toes, everything.
Absolutely.
And then as it begins to settle, you're like, okay, now let's try and find that balance. I know now what my kids are doing in school.
But then I also feel like there's also this volcano that erupts midway through, right? Like there could be an entire team change that happens, which could completely throw things off. Or there could be a pivot that you make. So I feel like this is a constant battle, and there is, I mean, I feel like very likely because there's these times where I'm not responsible, and actually had this conversation with my brother last night where I felt like there was like a lot of underlying, you know, tension, and I was like, I just came so seen about it, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm here, and I was chilling with him sorry, I don't call you as much as I should, and I don't call you as much as I used to. But I feel like this is that phase where two babies that are so demanding that really, really need you, plus this whole new business, which is the podcast, plus the existing business.
Yeah.
So I feel like at times it really gets,
It can get a lot. I
yeah,
mean,
it gets a lot.
sometimes you look at a week, like for me, yes, you have a bunch of meetings and stuff to do. Um, at the same time, I might have an event or a shoot or some other call, and then there'll be
Yeah.
a learning walk for the kids, and at the same time, something is happening on, Saturday evening. And there were times that I just felt like I don't want to do this anymore. It's just getting too much, like the number of breakdowns that I had. And Shahid would tell me, okay, if you're going to walk away from all of this, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't see you doing something, you can do nothing. You always have to do something. And it keeps making me think, like, if I walk away, will I stop thinking about the no? But I just, like, sometimes I archive my work chat, okay? Because I don't want to see those messages. Yeah, I know she's laughing. Sometimes I archive it because I just feel I will get to it. Like, I know there must be something, but I'll see it tomorrow morning. I just don't want 67 unread WhatsApp messages. That gives me stress. So I just found some very unique, strange ways to reduce the number of input and stimuli that I'm getting.
Please
Archive. So the first thing, archive unnecessary chats. Take the time to block all those spams and all of those things. Take help of your friends, your family, people who live in your building to step in for your kids. I have seen that my friends, my kids' friends, moms have always been so supportive. And I say, I have a really tough day. Just send them over. We got them. I still remember I had 5 really back-to-back days. Shahid was shooting. My mom couldn't make it down, and I called up Zen's best friend's mom, who herself had just delivered a baby, like a month ago or something. She said, I've got Zen, 3 days, this is his schedule, this is what they're going to do, Misha and Zen are coming to my house. That makes you feel that you have this tribe. That's when that tribe, it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to raise a woman with ambition. It really does. Everyone chips in.
I agree. This is exactly what I've done sitting here. And it's my son, he's turning 3 next month, and it's his school observation for big school. And I had to be here because I have an event this evening that I was committed to like 2 months ago, and this just came up, and it's like, yeah, but you just need that support. And my husband's like, okay, I've got this, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, but I need to be there. I don't care if you've got it.
No,
but
it's fine.
sometimes
it's okay. He can get it.
Yeah.
If he's saying he's got it, that's fine. It's done.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What has Shahid's role been in your journey of being an entrepreneur?
I think he has given me. Sometimes self-belief comes from inside. Sometimes someone else tells you you've got this. He's been that voice. I know you can do this. Every time I've had a wacky idea, crazy idea, I think I should do this, I think I should do that, I don't want to do anything at all. He knows me so well that he knows what it takes to make me tick. So in terms of me as an individual, being that sounding board, literally, it sounds so cheesy, but that wind beneath the wings thing, where someone is always saying, you got this, do it. I still remember the second ad or something that I did. It came to me, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to give this to my kids. And I was sitting on this high horse. No, Shahid, I don't agree with this brand, and I don't agree with I don't think this should be given to children. I won't give it to my own kids. That's how I process. And he was like, I don't know if you're doing the right thing. Find the right context for it. But you're just starting out. If you say no so many times in the beginning, you may not get these opportunities later. And it was hard truth.
That's
It
it.
was fact. It may not sound politically correct, but to say that if you want to do something seriously, sometimes you will have to do things you don't necessarily agree with. But find how you will make it sit right in your mind. Thank God I did that. I found a way to make it work. What I would say, because I'm very particular about how I say things when it comes to brands. And that's where that whole thing began. So at that point, he was the reality check because he's done it for long enough. I've also learned a lot of professional discipline. Like the way he wakes up before sunrise, has his day, makes sure he's back home to spend time with the kids, even if he's traveling, speaking to them every day, being in touch with family. If he's gone to Delhi, he'll make it a point to meet my family. Um, and apart from that, I think listening. Sometimes you just want to come home and talk about your day.
Absolutely.
You just want to vent, and you need a place where someone isn't judging you,
Yeah.
but is also not being a blank wall. Because they know when you're vulnerable, when you're not looking at it the right way. That's the room you want to be in. Like I said earlier, you don't want to be in a room full of yeses. You want to be in a room where someone says, yes, I understand, but.
But you're overthinking this.
Yeah.
But
But maybe you shouldn't do it like this. Or maybe this is not the right way. Have you thought about it like this? Do you think you could do it that way? Is this too big of a risk? Even saying, like, I think you need to spend a little more time with the kids. Glenn is really missing you. Or Misha had this. That's the reality check you need sometimes because you might be away 7 days when you're opening boxes and actually setting up the space. Yes, everyone has your back, but someone needs to tell you that, listen, just take half an hour out and be with the kids today. Yeah, okay. It's real. Those things are real. You forget.
and you need someone. You that to-do list also needs a to-do list for reminders that like these that are so.
Yeah, and I think balancing it out when I had to make a work trip and Shahid was shooting around the same time, I said, I've committed to this 7 days and I need to fly out. Um, and he said, okay, let me have a look at my schedule. And I said, I can't move these dates. And he said, okay, so I'm going to figure this out so that I'm here with the kids and we can do this and overlap. I'll take them here, we'll do that. It's the tag teaming that works. So don't feel guilty if your husband is going for the parent teacher meeting because it's fine. We've done that so many times.
Absolutely, but
Divide and conquer.
interview, yeah, this is like this
will
is
be fine.
getting into this big school.
He will be fine.
So parent teacher meeting, you
Just
take
trust the upbringing you've given your child. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So a lot of people want to make this jump, right, from having a personal brand to going beyond that and having a business, having an entrepreneurial journey. What would you say to them? Because there's lots of women out there. I think that social media has been an incredible tool for
Yeah.
women entrepreneurs more than men. I think this is also a gender thing because it's given women the flexibility to hone their passions, to hone their purpose, and doing it at a time where they needed that flexibility in their life, right? Just given the different life stages that women are. And being able to give that a shot. And so many have done that. But what is advice for what that pivot requires?
I'm not sure it requires a pivot, Masu, because I think your personality, so the person you are, that evolves into a personality, that becomes a personal brand, extends into a business that you create. That's my belief. And that's when you create that business, it will have a soul because it has a boundary. I don't think they need to be two distinctly different things. So my business is an extension of who I am. My personal brand was never created with the intention of being a personal brand. It was me being myself. And I think that authenticity shows. So my advice would be find yourself first. Everything else will follow and stay true to yourself. miss in their own lives, and that's why those brands have stuck. A lot of new hair care brands that are coming up have come from personal problems, not finding the right one. Clothing, pet care, toys for babies, they have all come from finding a gap in your own life. And of course, not everything can be about you, but you need to evolve it into being a sustainable business. But if it has a part of you, it will have soul. It'll have meaning.
I do think this is the best advice, though, even though you started off saying you don't have any. It's just fantastic advice, and I think this is actually what it really, really is. Do you ever feel like you've been underestimated?
I think being underestimated is underrated because you can continue to do what you want to do without anybody knowing, and then really surprise them. Of course, I have been underestimated many times. Uh, I have, it's, you can see it, non-verbal communication, you can see it in the way people respond,
Body language.
you can, also via. Uh, but like I said earlier, I've never played to the played to
The dhun.
yeah, well, I've never played to what people expect of me. I have always been very, very under the radar in terms of what I'm doing till it's done. It's also slightly old school. Don't talk about it till it's not done.
I'm the same though. Even with the brand GP. Even something like that, I just will not talk about it until the advances come in. No one knows about it. But there is this whole conversation around celebrity brands. And there are so many celebrities who really are the face and not the force behind the brand. Because that also does work for so many, it works well. With you, I know that you're sitting on the formulations for a kind. I know you make the decks yourself sometimes. Don't weirdly, because we have a bit of a personal equation. When I go to the space, I can see you there. Like I know that the snacks have been arranged by you personally and by hand, and like I can tell that personal detail is there. So that was, but that assumption does come in, right? That you are the face of these brands.
That's true. Even now, people are shocked that I'm there Monday to Friday, that I have a regular day at work.
Oh my
People
god,
can't
I'm
believe
shocked
it.
as well, by the way.
I am there 10:30 to any time I need to be
At home.
at
Wow.
um, because it is a service business. I sit on the desk, take calls, look at the appointment software. I ask my team, what does this symbol mean? What does that mean? I look at the ad dashboard, service quality. It's very, very important to be involved. You can't just grow being the face of anything. You have to be involved. Um, it's likewise with a kind. I think with a kind, I was very lucky that there was an extremely strong team, and so my involvement started from being a consumer. Let's do this. Let's add probiotics to this. Let's make a sunscreen primer. Let's make a lip oil that looks like a gloss but doesn't feel like it's sticky. Because those are the things you feel. I don't want to have a lip oil, it's either runny or it's very tacky. The tint goes away, long lasting tint. Let's put that in. So, being involved is important. I don't know how others do it, but this is my way. You're either all in or all out. There's no halfway. Even the brands that I have been associated with as a brand ambassador for a very long time, I know each product. I know each product line, I know each product. So yeah, I do feel it's important to be involved. It's very personal. That's how I like to do it.
You're obviously sitting here as someone who's very confident, has been in the public eye now for years. I feel more than a decade.
Less.
Less?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Just about 10.
Okay. But how do people that haven't really found their voice, how do they deal with public scrutiny? Right? Or not public scrutiny, just in fact, just different people having something to say about them. Today we're both public personas, so we're dealing with the entire internet, and for them, for it to be okay to have an opinion. But there's everyone at every level and every degree is dealing with this.
Yeah.
Like that's an absolute fact.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that there's people that are living very private lives, but this could actually bog them down even more than it could bog down, say, a public figure. But as someone who's been through that run,
You know, I think this is a great opportunity for us to speak to those people who write those comments. Think about what you're writing. You're talking to a human being. You're saying something about somebody. You are invading their privacy when they are in bereavement, in a moment of grief. You're saying things about their children. I don't think this question, I would just change this slightly to say it's not about how we deal with it. I think it's about time we're a little more responsible with respect to what we say and how we think about others. Because this ecosystem is going to continue to become a cesspool if we don't stop being so negative, if we don't stop attacking, if we don't stop making those incessant Reddit feeds about just decoding people's personal lives and this could have happened and that could have happened. And I'm sure everyone indulges in mindless gossip, but the point is that they are people. The fact that they are public personalities does not warrant so much criticism, and they are not objects of consumption beyond a point. That's what I think.
so I actually feel like the problem doesn't start from there. I think the problem starts from three friends sitting in a room saying, "What's the gossip?"
Masoom, we've all done it.
We've all done it. We've all done it, Mia, 100%. But this is genuinely a learning that I've had in the last 2 weeks, as recent as that, where I'm not trying to be a saint, but it is a conscious plug that I want to unplug. Where I feel like that's where it starts, because you saying something, it's really about that. It's an environment that you create, right? Today, where does it start from? Why does someone go on a Reddit, or where does someone have a comment? It's because there has been a personal discussion about it.
That's true. But I feel the moment it's on the internet, you are now part of a very large discussion. And you're either amplifying somebody's view or you're fighting against it. Neither of them are working. Either you have fan clubs fighting with each other, or you're amplifying, voyeurism, or you're amplifying the way someone looked, behaved, reacted. I think, yes, if you're a public personality, people are going to talk. No one is saying that don't talk. It's just everyone has an ability to deal with public scrutiny. I don't see many people being able to sustain it beyond a point without losing a little bit of themselves.
Of course.
And so I feel if we want to be real people, then let's extend a little benefit of doubt.
And kindness.
Yeah.
As basic as that sounds.
You want to say the look was terrible, fine. But to say that, oh, this is because of this and that and taste and this and all the looks and Takistan and something and whatever, I mean, that's just mean. You can say it to your three friends. That's not going to stop. Those three friends sitting together and saying what's the gossip is not going to stop. When you put these things online, are you thinking, or when someone's holding their child, or someone's in a moment of grief, or in a private moment, why I have seen so many actors having to put out things that say, we are doing this, please give us privacy. Do we not have basic humanity to extend it without them having to plead for it?
Do you think about your purpose?
Yeah, I do. I think it's evolving. There was a time where it was about linear growth,
Okay.
and now it's come to a place where it's about depth. because I found an anchor in Dhun, and I want to create and build on that depth. Scale, yes, but depth. How do we continue to evolve in this world of wellness where you are able to balance between wisdom and traditional therapies, integrate technology, integrate longevity, have many more such places, build out a team that functions like you, that shares the same values, recognize that each team has individuals and have feelings and have opinions, keeping that strategy alive, an eye on competition. That's what I mean by depth. Like now there's a lot. You make a box and now you have to start coloring it in and keep finding new aspects to uncover. My purpose has always been to create impact. By impact doesn't mean X number of people need to know me or this company needs to be this size. It has to be able to create an impact in your life. Um, how do you feel about yourself? Have you been able to understand your body? Have you been able to understand who you are and what your body's blueprint is? It's not just biohacking or anti-aging. It is about being the best version of yourself in different phases of your life. How do we optimize performance? How do we optimize underrated things like sleep without having incessant intervention of extreme variables or a lot of data or several pages of tests? So finding that soul along with data, along with science, um, I want to see it on all over India. I want to see it in different countries of the world because I think that we have something we have something to say, we have something to prove. We know there is a proof of concept. Um,
Yes. Because I've seen this face, I
yeah,
truly believe in
no.
what you're
Also,
saying.
just generally in terms of the way that the business is doing, I want to be able to actually. I don't know this fill in the blank of purpose. I want to continue doing what I'm doing. Maybe the next time
I'm
we
recalling
meet,
a teammate.
we'll find it. But my purpose is to create impact.
Thanks.
It's
Okay.
yeah.
Do you work for money?
Do I work for money? It's an interesting question. Does money drive my decisions? No.
But does money drive your entrepreneurial spirit?
So, I have two jobs. Okay. One is me that started as a creator and now a public personality, and a lot of the ads and events and things like that I do. And now I have businesses and a few others that I'm working on. They both function very differently and feed into each other. The business has to be healthy. If it doesn't make money, I am letting myself, uh, my investors, the people who buy from us, the people who, who are our customers and our guests, I'm letting them all down. So that, yes, you can have fantastic guest experience, but if no one's coming in, what's the point? So
Absolutely.
that is driven by success in terms of numbers. Me as a public personality, if I really like something, I want to go somewhere, I want to speak about a brand or tag somebody, I'm not thinking, but I'm not getting paid for this. No. If I have to stay an extra hour because I'm enjoying myself, I'm not going to say, oh, but I'm only supposed to be here for 90 minutes. That's not who I am. It is a byproduct, and I think it's a means to an end. I think financial independence is extremely important. So I'd be wrong by saying money doesn't matter to me. It's very important to be financially independent and financially literate. What do you do with that money once you have it as well? And I think it's that balance that one needs to find where I'll never do something just for money. If that's the question, someone gives me a lot of money, but I just cannot see myself doing it, I won't. And I guess it comes from a place of privilege, and I can say no because I have a certain privilege. But because I have that, I'm very mindful of what I put my name to.
And what do you do with the money once you've earned it?
I have different ways to invest my money.
Okay.
I have someone to do that for me, but there are certain things which I feel our parents have taught us, and that will never be wrong. Things like metals, um, art is one of them, jewelry is one of them. Um, Not just because it's lovely to wear, but I just have a keen interest in it. Shahid's way of doing things is very different. His purpose is also very different because he's doing things slightly differently, and uh, his responsibilities are different. So he invests differently. Um, I like to look at things slightly more long term. I don't like to dabble in stocks. Um, and my investments into other companies. That's something I enjoy doing. So before I had heard of the concept of a family office. I think I was doing that well before,
Okay.
well before I had this phase on Instagram. I was always doing that.
How do you, like you said, Shahid has a different approach. How do you, as a couple and as a family, have those money conversations and be able to balance that money? You both are, have separate businesses. How does that all kind of come together?
It's never been a topic of discussion as to my money and your money.
Okay.
It's never been so. Masoom, when I got married, I was not working. And it would have been very easy for Shahid to have said that you don't know anything and you're not earning anything. I'll handle everything. But no, it wasn't like that. I was running the house. I had to learn how to budget the house. I needed to learn how to go month to month, keep a check on things, and I still do that. I'm still particular about those things. I may not be like threadbare, um, but I still know what is happening in my household. That gave me a lot of skills that I actually use in my business. So it was, I have to give a lot of credit to him. It was never that you don't know anything. You're running the house, you know what to do what's right. And that's how it started. He's like, I'm going out, I'm working, you handle this. So dealing with the CA, dealing with the accountant, understanding things. Okay, explain this to me, explain that to me. Ask dumb questions.
Asking the question.
Whenever you have a question, ask it, especially when it's about money. I saw your other podcast that you did on financial literacy. Ask dumb questions. Who cares? They'll judge you for what? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
You don't know what is an SIP? Ask. You don't know what is a mutual fund? Ask. What are locker fees? You should know.
We've spoken about this a bit, right? But I just have one more question that I want to ask you on this, which is
İmada
the
kहाँ
fact
çıkmadı?
that there is no way, this is not a conversation that's hard enough, that you have a lot on your plate. And at the end of the day, you are also controlling what food is going on your child's plate. So there's the two kids, there's your personal brand, there's the two businesses, and there's a whole personal social life that is at the moment, but it's there. Your family, your friends, your roles as a wife, as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister. I know you have two sisters.
That WhatsApp group, it helped me understand, and I love that group by the way. No forwards, no good morning messages, no festive greetings, questions only. And I realized that there are many other such people like me who have a personal goal, balancing family, friendship, um, different aspects of their life are feeling burnt out, are feeling overwhelmed, still have that charge, still want to do it. And that gives me that reassurance, or it gives me inspiration that I'm not the only one. I shouldn't be pitying myself.
Oh my God, so true.
That everyone wants to do it and have it all, but everyone is struggling to have it all.
तो बताओ। ये बुड्ढा होंगे दोनों लोग। ये
फिर दिया मानना पड़ेगा, मोबाइल में खेल रहे हैं।
मोबाइल में खेल रहे हैं, पा रहे हो मुखिया मार के एकदम चिन्ह हार गए।
और क्या था अप्पे वाले बहने आप
महाराष्ट्र में आ जाता है लेकिन
तो घर वाला कोई मना